All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us: money. But we're not going to look at spreadsheets or complex charts. No, we're going to look at the most powerful and often the most irrational force in our financial lives: our own minds. Have you ever just stopped and wondered, why do incredibly smart people, I'm talking doctors, engineers, brilliant professionals, do such boneheaded things with their money? It's a puzzle, right? Well, here's the thing. The answer isn't buried in some finance textbook. It's not about math. The answer is actually much, much closer to home. It's all happening right up here, inside our heads. It's about our feelings, our hidden biases, and just the weird way our brains are wired. And this brings us to the single most important idea we're going to cover today. This is the whole ballgame, really. When it comes to being successful with money, it has very little to do with how smart you are and almost everything to do with how you behave. Think about it this way. We like to pretend that finance is a hard science, like physics, with strict rules and formulas. But it's not. It's actually a soft skill. It's much more like psychology, where human behavior is the biggest, most unpredictable variable of all. So what exactly is the psychology of money? Well, put simply, it's the study of us. It's looking at how our emotions, like fear and greed, and all our weird mental shortcuts and behaviors secretly pull the strings on the financial choices we make every single day. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Doing well with money has a little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. What that means is that a regular person with no fancy degree but who has their behavior in check can easily outperform a financial genius who's a slave to their emotions. Okay, so if behavior is king, what's actually going on inside our skulls? Let's peel back the curtain and look at our brains on money and this constant internal tug of war that's happening whether we realize it or not. We think money is all about the stuff on the left, right? The spreadsheets, the market analysis, the theory. That's the stuff they teach in school. But the things that really move the needle, the things that actually make or break your financial life, that's all the stuff on the right. Patience, discipline, and wrestling with those huge emotions like fear and greed. A huge reason for this internal battle goes way, way back. Our brains are basically running on ancient software. For thousands and thousands of years, survival was about the here and now. Find food now, avoid danger now. Our brains are wired for instant gratification. And right there, that's the problem, isn't it? Our ancient brain is screaming, I want it now! But real, lasting wealth is built later. It's built slowly, over decades, through patience and the incredible power of compounding. So we've got this fundamental conflict between our wiring and our goals. And when you actually see it visually, the difference is it's not even close. That little burst of reward you get from a short-term choice is nothing compared to what long-term patience gets you. But then, look at the power of compounding. It blows everything else out of the water. It's a total game changer. So when you're making a big money decision, who's really in the driver's seat? We like to think it's logic, the rational, smart part of our brain. But in reality, look at this. Fear and greed are taking up most of the space. Logic is just a backseat driver, and a pretty quiet one at that. Okay, so it might sound like we're doomed, right? Like we're just stuck with these faulty emotional brains. But here's the good news. We're not. We can absolutely learn to work with our psychology instead of against it. We can take back the controls. Now, let's be realistic. The goal here isn't to become some kind of financial robot, totally free of emotion. That's impossible and probably not even healthy. The goal is much simpler and much more achievable. It's just to be less emotional when it really counts. So how do we actually do that? Well, here's a really simple 3-step framework. First, you've got to know your own weak spots. Are you a panic seller? Do you get too greedy? Be honest with yourself. Second, know your timeline. Are you investing for next year or for 30 years from now? That changes everything. And third, my personal favorite, automate. Set up automatic investments. It is the single best way to take your emotional, impulsive brain out of the equation. So when you boil all of this down, when you put it all together, you realize something amazing. The true key to building wealth isn't some secret Wall Street formula. It's actually much simpler, and it's something every single one of us can get better at. It's not about being a genius. The real financial superpowers are things like patience, just giving time the space to work its magic; humility, admitting you don't know everything and that you will make mistakes; having a long-term outlook, so you're not freaking out about today's headlines. And maybe the most important of all, knowing when you have enough so you can stop moving the goalposts and taking foolish risks. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to really chew on. So much of our financial life is dictated by the stories we tell ourselves about money. So, what's your story? Is it one of fear and scarcity? Or is it a story of patience and opportunity? Really thinking about that story, that might just be the best financial investment you ever make.